So this is my presentation on ethnoviolence, mainly relating to the Holocaust. So ethnoviolence has been around for generations. Its proper definition is to describe an act or an attempted act that is motivated by group prejudice and intended to cause physical or psychological harm. We have seen it through um, we have seen it through many generations of our own history, whether it be through slavery or genocides such as the Armenian genocide or the Holocaust. Um, Ethnoviolence is something that has happened over and over again, and we are just starting to understand it fully. This type of thing happens when a group of similar-minded or delusional, in certain cases, people think that, or these type of people think that to think for only like one cause, and this is seen through groups like the KKK or the Germans. Ethnoviolence occurs through rhetoric because of hateful and diminishing speech that can cause people to speak up, obviously. Whether the hateful speech is coming from the person that you as an individual listen to on a daily basis, whether it's whether it's a president or a dictator, whoever it is, or if it's coming from the people that oppose you. Rhetoric has always played one of the biggest factors in creating an environment of hatred and fear. So now I'm going to talk about ethnoviolence seen through the Holocaust. So following the assumption of power, Hitler and his regime constructed a scientific language that had teleological nature, which was used to convey distorted racial science. Logical German race scientists declared that some races were the master race, subhuman and superior to others who were anti-race. This implied that people like Jews were not human and thus were used as scapegoats for blame after losing the First World War. This result was conveyed in a system geared toward the deconstruction of Jewish people in German society. Germans used consistent degenerative language against the Jews to normalize derogatory treatment to Jews and also to create widespread consensus that there was truth behind the baseless claims that the Nazi Party was spewing to the public. This presents a rhetorical framework to align with terminological choices that could sway people's opinion that in reality has no substance in real fact or knowledge. Thus, the choice of words in the presentation of racial science research results conducted by Nazi scientists was meant to affect how the audience understands what was said. In equal measure, it influences the mode and severity of action to be taken by the audience according to their understanding of the message conveyed. This rhetoric set precedents for Jewish people in Germany. The Jews were described as ingenuine Germans and Nordic race, which laid the foundation for antinomies and Jewish persecutions in 1938. To affect dichotomous decision schemes, Jews were presented as all forms of predisposition, racial profiling, prejudice, personality traits, and behavioral characteristics. This formed the establishment of irreconcilable differences between Jews and the Germanic race, where Germans were privileged by racial inheritance of the German nation. This created the true German notion, which was unique from the Jews who were considered foreigners. This uniqueness collectively unified the German origin race against Jews or any other Nordic considered race, with assertive solidification of boundaries to exclude anyone who is considered an outsider. This resulted in the production of unique German racial culture, which provided the basis for irreconcilable difference and physical separation. Since the rhetoric of separation proved challenging to achieve its intended intention, as the two races coexisted, the rhetoric shifted toward racial purity. The Nazis shifted their rhetoric devices to the destruction of the Jewish people by introducing competitive competition ideas, by giving antagonistic racial relationships an aura of inevitability. This called for the German nation to use their Aryan privilege to eliminate the Jewish people who they found unworthy to live. This was influenced by the assertion that there was a higher prevalence of Jews among the population, which forced the German population to work hard to feed them and provide for medical need, which is a heavy weighing on the national resources. The eradication of Jews was to relieve the national health system and neutralize the security risk they posed to the pure race, which did not amount to murder, but systematic economic eradication, which was warranted. To deter Jewish influence in Germany's government, the Nazis produced a manifesto called the 25 Points, a filled rhetorical illustration toward the Holocaust. This was presented in the form of scientific terminologies and in the form of scientific sounding terminologies and the form of repressive political documents. The Nazi regime used such an opportunity to malign rhetoric in the disguise of threat posed by agricultural contamination in the German Jewish-owned farms' German population. The author of the manifesto alluded that the profound injury is done to our German artistic and intellectual life at the hand of Jews must be stopped by appropriate measures, especially by disinfection of the press. This choice created an appeal for emergency response toward racial cleansing as a retaliation of the negative effect of Jewish endeavors. In a different context, Hitler accused the Jewish people of stirring other countries against Germany. Thus, they needed to be prepared for retaliation in case a war broke out. As a result, the Nazi regime forced many Jews into ghettos where many starved to death, wore yellow Star of David, and killed over 1 million Jewish people in Eastern Europe by Nazi Eisengruppen. Thank you.